Hi, it's Nancy. I decided that it was time to do another Facebook Live video for a couple of reasons. The one, I haven't been in touch with you guys and I missed you. So hi, hi from New York. It's very hot here, but probably nowhere as hot as other places. So I'm gonna try not to complain. Um, won't do much good anyway, right? So the reason I wanted to do this particular video is I got an email from one of the followers who is dealing with something that I think a lot of you probably deal with. And the specific question is, what do you do when dealing with someone who believes liars? And without getting into a lot of the details, I just thought I would address this using, of course, my book, right? Can you see it? There it is. It's the DIY conflict resolution book, and the 7 choices. We're going to start there, and there's the bookmark that goes with it. If you'd like the bookmark, here we'll do it this way, so you can see a little bit better, hopefully. Then, if you'd like the bookmark, you can email me your address. I'll be happy to mail you one. Obviously, if you don't have the book yet, you can get that too. But yeah, this isn't necessarily to sell you the book, but just to let you know that it's out there and what might be in it. So the 7 choices when dealing with someone who will just go with the beliefs liars for now, right? The first thing you want to do is forgive yourself for whatever's going on for you around this, right? When we're struggling with dealing with someone who we think is probably being duped, or they were concerned that they have a quote wrong belief, this is also to do with you. It's lovely that you care about them, and I'm sure that it's all with the best intentions, but one of the things that's going to hinder your ability to relate to this person is what's going on inside of you around it. So that's why I say forgive yourself for whatever's going on. If it's making you question your relationship with this person, that happens, right? There are times that I get into discussions with people on political views, for example, or a news story. And it's sometimes shocking to me, their viewpoint of it. I just assume that people close to me share my views, right? And that's not always true. And I think that's one of the things that may have been coming up for this particular follower, is maybe it's a surprise. Like, how could you possibly believe this person who I think is so blatantly lying? So just, if this is you, if I'm sure if it's not today, you'll have some of this as we get closer to elections, as the holidays roll around in the fall. I hear a lot of these kinds of things come up. But just, first of all, just forgive yourself for whatever is going on in your head around it and stop questioning. And none of this means you're anybody different, and none of it really means that the person that you're dealing with is any different. This is all situational. And so we want to try and isolate that so that we can just deal with the particular issue, not that this makes a broad brush stroke about who an individual is. So also, I want you to acknowledge yourself for watching this video, for bringing up the issue, for taking whatever action you can to resolve this conflict, because it's clear when you speak out. And with this particular follower, when the email came in, it's about wanting to understand. It's not necessarily about wanting to change this person, although there's probably a little of that in there, right? Especially when we're attached to our own views. But it usually comes out of love and good intent. We tend to not take action on resolving conflicts with people that we don't see a lot of value in continuing a relationship with. Now, I have a whole belief around that also, that no matter what, you're still in relationship with people. It's just sometimes I love people from afar, and that might be some of what people are dealing with in these kinds of situations, is how close can I have this person to me? So acknowledge yourself for just taking any action on this, doing some exploration. It's lovely that you're doing something because it matters to you, and thank you, because we need people who care in the world. Third, you want to forgive the world for there being these kinds of conflicts that come up. And you'll hear me talk about this repeatedly in my programs, that you want to forgive the world for creating conflict because it is what pushes us to grow. Now, there are certain types of conflicts that we definitely want to minimize, right? When other people are dying, etc., it causes a lot of a lot of problems throughout the world, right? Internally and externally. And depending on what you believe around the value of human life, it may be different too. So just forgive the world. Other people might have different worldviews from you. And for now, we're just going to accept it because the seven choices are all about you getting connected to what's going on inside of you. Then fourth, you want to just free those emotions. If you're angry, if you're confused, if you're sad, if you're disappointed in the relationship, that's something else you might also want to explore. Is you may find that this is more than just about someone believing a liar. This may be a deeper conflict within this relationship, and just feel what you're feeling. If you don't feel it and you bottle it up, then it's going to add to the conflict, and you're going to have it usually come out in some other ways. And I see that in my own life, where if I don't, for example, tell a friend or a partner, in the past it's been employees, that I'm unhappy with something, I may not be telling them in my words. Maybe I think I'm hiding it from them, but I'm almost never hiding it. It comes out in other ways. So just free all of those emotions. Go into a private place, feel what you feel. If you want to get mad, if you want, whatever you might do. I've given people permission. Those of you who follow me for a while, you probably know this. I give people permission to go into a closet or a private office and throw a tantrum. You get 10 minutes. You can throw a tantrum for as long as that 10 minutes is there, but when you're done, you're done. And now we're going to get back in action. But go in there, stomp your feet, whatever you have to do, just do it safely. And one of the reasons I say go into a private place is because you don't want to take other people in with you necessarily. It has an impact. Our emotions do have an impact on other people, and they're personal to us. So I'm a big fan of freeing your emotions when possible in a private setting, also understanding that there are certain circumstances where that's not going to happen. I'm not saying if you're in the middle of a dispute that you get up and walk away because you start to cry. Let the other person see the humanity in you, of course, but there's certain things like anger, you might want to work through that on your own, because there's a tendency for us to not deal with our anger. And so when you're feeling it in a moment, it's often a culmination of other angers that you've maybe been holding in. So I like to give you the permission to just go someplace private and let it all out. I've been known to go to the batting cage and beat the heck out of balls. You can see behind me that I do still play some softball and have been playing most of my life. And batting cage was definitely a place that I took out a lot of frustrations growing up. Number 5, you want to clear your mind, right? So once you've freed all the emotions and you've forgiven yourself, you're just going to clear your mind and when it's kind of a play on words, right? Like, how really can you clear your mind? What you're really doing is not paying attention so much to your thoughts. And it's because what I want you to do is go into this situation with a learner's mind. So when you declare that someone is believing a liar, you're already making a couple of assumptions, right, that may or may not be accurate, and you probably need some more information on. One, you need to find out, is this person a liar that they believe, and how likely is it that they're a liar 100% of the time? It's very unlikely that anyone is 100% liar, just a walking, talking, lying machine. It may seem that way with certain people, but I even have a blog post on my website about this. Even some of the biggest demons can be likable, nice, kind, honest at times. So what you want to get into is what's the lie that you think they're believing, and what evidence do you have that this is not true, right? That this is a lie. So that's one element of it. And then there's the other element of it is this, does this person believe it? And how deeply do they believe it? Are they just following it blindly? And there's a lot of information that you still don't have. And so you're making a judgment without complete information. And that's why I ask you to just clear your mind and go back to kind of that learner mentality. Pretend like you were just born, right? At least in this situation, you were just born. You want to assume nothing. That is choice number 6. And if you have to assume anything, the assumption that I ask you to make is to assume that you know nothing about anything. And again, that's getting back to that learner's mind, so that you can ask the questions that help you understand what's really going on between you and this other person, and the other person and the person that you think they are believing and that is a complete liar, right? So it's a much more complex issue than you might be fully getting. So just assume you know nothing about anything and start from scratch asking questions. And I'll give you an example, especially because I've been teaching a lot of sexual harassment courses. I have my online course. Again, I'm not necessarily here to sell it. If you want to go and do the training, I hope it's valuable to you. I think it helps people get beyond the mandatory training, and that's why it's called that, right? So, but I get into a lot of discussions with people who don't understand what the limitations are. It's usually my male friends who don't understand the limitations on sexual harassment in the workplace. What's appropriate, what's not. Do women just not want to be complimented anymore? Is that wrong? Why not? Why can't I tell someone? Why can't I tell a woman I want to go out with her? Why can't I follow her on the street? Right? And I have to put my own assumptions aside on that, because as a woman, I have some strong views on it. And I have to then go back to, well, wait, what is really going on here? There's an exploration that I'm inviting you into in this situation that was brought forward for me. Just again, having that learner's mind, asking, what is it that about this person that you believe, that why do you believe they're so honest? And just keep asking questions about, what do you know about this person? What evidence do you have to back that up? Usually it's more about someone following a lie, a belief system. We could look at it in so many ways. Let's face it, a lot of this comes up in politics too. And we adopt these views primarily because they seem popular. They seem like the right thing. So again, it's more about what's going on internally, both with you, the person who's concerned about this loved one falling for lies, and it's also about you and what it's making you question about who you are. Are you on the wrong side of this issue? I mean, that's there, whether you're admitting it or not. There's a question always about which side of the issue are you on, and is it the right side? And the sad thing about that, bad news here, is it doesn't really matter so much, because there's really not a right or wrong, a good or bad, right? That applies to all situations. Now, that doesn't mean that, I'm saying it's okay to go out and hurt other people. That is pretty much bad, right? But what I want you to get is that you, again, do not know enough about what's going on with the person you're concerned about, nor do you know enough about, usually, this so-called liar, and whether that person is 100% liar. And again, very, very unlikely. So I hope you can kind of get that. That's why I asked you to assume nothing. And if you do, assume you know nothing, because it's probably true, at least about this specific situation, until you start asking more questions and asking them in a very loving way, which takes us to choice number 7. And that is listening with your third ear, or your heart. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the third ear conflict resolution program, it is based on your third ear being in your heart. If you look in the English word heart, it's right there in the center, EAR, right? HEART. So you listen with your heart, and it's about the exact intent that brought you to me to ask me a question about what do you do when someone close to you is believing a liar? How do you deal with that? And the number one answer is with love, right? There is a reason that people believe what they believe. It's usually a lot to do with, as I said, about whether they think it's the right thing. It's about how they want you to view them. It's about how they want the world to work, how they believe the world should work. It's about the lives that they want. Get into those issues and then focus there. And when I'm coaching, that's one of the things that we talk a lot about too, is like there's nothing for me to fix when I'm coaching someone. People aren't broken. They may have things in their lives that could use improvement, but people are not broken. And when you view them as broken, the only thing that you can leave them with is the experience of being a broken human being. And I know that when you reached out, that is not what you wanted to communicate. So listen with your third ear, listen with your heart, go ask some questions. I am going to follow up with a video on the 5 actions, but I'm not going to do it today. So you're going to have to wait. Go have a conversation with this person that you love, who you think is believing a liar, and listen and find out what's important to them and start there. Sometimes you have to just agree to disagree on certain things, and that's okay too. Good luck, and let me know how it goes.